Welcome friends, I'm Sarah with Cleopatra's Crochet. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet these cute little mini beanies. They can be used as a Christmas ornament or you can string them together in a festive garland. It comes as a pattern bundle, which also includes the mittens and the stocking. So if you prefer to work off of a PDF instead of watching a video, or if you'd like the pattern for the mittens or the stocking, that is available in my shop, and the link for that will be down in the description. For this project, you're going to need two different types of yarn. The first is a medium weight 4 in any color you want, and the second is a velvet yarn, which is a weight 5. In addition, you'll also need crochet hooks in two sizes, a 5.5 millimeter and a 4.5 millimeter, scissors, and a tapestry needle and stitch marker. We will begin using the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and we'll use the smaller hook later on. Row 1 is 6 single crochet on a magic ring. And if you're not confident making a magic ring, I have a tutorial where I perform the steps slowly, just making a magic ring. So I'll have that linked in the description of this video down below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That last one is getting tightened down, so we're going to loosen it a bit. I'm going to stick my crochet hook through the stitch, and it just helps when I tighten this down that I can get back in that stitch later on. Every round is going to be closed with a slip stitch and a chain 1. There's our slip stitch and our chain 1. So there is round 1. Round 2, the pattern is 6 half double crochet increases. A half double crochet increase is exactly the same as the standard single crochet increase. You're just making a half double crochet instead of a single crochet. So I'm still putting 2 stitches into 1 to make an increase stitch. These are my first 2. I should have 12 stitches at the end of this round. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Once again, finish every round with a slip stitch into that first stitch, and then a chain 1. The pattern for round 3 is a half double crochet followed by another half double crochet increase. That pattern of a half double crochet and then an increase is going to repeat it 6 times, and that will give you a total of 18 stitches in your round. And now from here on out, I'm going to show you the first couple of stitches, and then I'll cut to the end of the round just so that this video can be a bit shorter. So we're making a half double crochet and then an increase, meaning a half double crochet and then another one into that same stitch. Go ahead and repeat that until you get to the end of round 3. This is what the end of round 3 looks like before I put that slip stitch and chain 1 in. And I've gone ahead and added my stitch marker. I forgot to for the first couple of rounds, but it can assist in just making sure you know where exactly your round begins and ends. So I did my slip stitch, chain 1. The pattern for round 4 is 2 half double crochet and then a half double crochet increase. All of that repeated 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. I'm going to make my first half double crochet and put that stitch marker back on. Then I need to make a second half double crochet, and now a half double crochet increase, 1 and 2. Okay, repeat that until you get to the end of round 3, and I'll meet you there. This is the end of round 4. I've gone ahead and made my slip stitch, chain 1, made my first half double crochet and put that stitch marker right back on. But the pattern for round 5 is just 24 half double crochets. So 1 stitch for 1 stitch, just make a half double crochet all the way around. And since round 5 through round 9 are identical, I'm just going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll meet you at the end of round 9. But you have several rounds of just half double crochets. Don't forget your slip stitch and your chain 1 at the end of each round. But it's pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to meet you at the end of round 9. This is what the mini beanie is looking like at the end of round 9. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and make a slip stitch. However, I'm not going to chain 1. And the reason for that is I need to change to the velvet yarn. So instead, I'm just going to cut a length of yarn enough that I can tie a secure knot. Go ahead and switch your crochet hook. So I was working with the 5.5 millimeter, and now I'm going to work with the 4.5 millimeter. Pick up the velvet yarn and make the chain 1 with the new yarn. Now go ahead and tie these 2 tails in a knot, and that will help secure it in place. The reason we're using 2 different size crochet hooks is because the weights of these yarns are different. So for the thinner weight yarn, we used a larger hook. For the thicker weight yarn, we're going to use a smaller hook, and that will just help them blend together better, because I like the fluffy yarn for the trim detail. Okay, we've changed our yarn to the white color, and now we're going to go ahead and do round 10. It begins with a single crochet, not a half double crochet. And I am taking this tail of the velvet yarn and just holding it in place on top of my stitches. The reason for that is I'm going to crochet right over top of it, and then I don't have to weave it in later on. You could also just leave it dangling and weave it in later. I've done my first single crochet. I'm going to put that stitch marker onto the stitch to mark the beginning and end of the round. And now it's just 23 half double crochets. So half double crochets in all the remaining stitches. And see, I'm working over top of that yarn, just holding it in place and making my stitches over top. I will meet you at the end of round 10 and show you how to finish the last round. This is the end of round 10. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and make a slip stitch and chain 1. And the reason I had you do a single crochet for that first stitch instead of a half double crochet is just because when you knot the yarn, it creates a little bit extra bulk. And I found that it blends it a little bit better, so you can't tell the beginning and the end of the round when you're finished. So I'm going to make a slip stitch and chain 1. The pattern for round 11 is just 24 half double crochets. So I'm going to make my first half double crochet, putting that stitch marker back on. And again, it's just 24 half double crochets all the way around. That's our final round. So I will meet you at the end and we can weave in our tails, and I'll show you how to turn it into an ornament if that's what you want to do with this. This is the end of round 11, and all we have remaining is to remove that stitch marker one more time, make a slip stitch and chain 1. Sorry, make a slip stitch, don't make a chain 1 because you're ending the round. And then go ahead and cut yourself a length of yarn to weave in and just pull your hook through. Now be careful when you pull on the velvet yarn because it can break. So let me show you this just on the tail. Like it can break on you versus the regular DK yarn usually doesn't do that. So just don't pull too hard. And now we have 2 tails to weave in. So I'm going to get my tapestry needle. And I like to make a little loop because usually when I try to go into the end, it starts splitting and fraying on me. And just squeeze that onto the tapestry needle. And I usually split this first stitch. So on a single crochet, I don't have a way of showing it to you, the V stitch, which is hard to see with the velvet yarn, but it's in here. I usually go in between it. And weaving in the ends can be any stitches. You just want to make sure that you go in and you come out a couple times, weaving back and forth, because that'll make sure that it doesn't come out and see, like I have a gap back there and I don't want a gap of yarn. I want to be in between the stitches where you can't see the needle on either side. Let's just go ahead and do that a couple times. You can even go back on yourself and start working from left to right. And go ahead and cut your yarn, being careful not to cut your actual stitches. And we have one more tail to weave in. And I'm weaving like colors with like colors, so I'm not going to take this pink yarn into the white section, just because I don't want little pieces of pink color to show through. And since this isn't an item that's going to be used, it's just a decoration, then you don't have to worry about this too much. It's not the same as if you were working with a garment. Again, trimming off the excess. And this is your beanie. Now, if you want to turn it into an ornament, I recommend cutting a length of yarn of about 9 inches, I believe is what I measured before. We're going to go with that being roughly 9 inches. To attach it, I'm going to go to the inside of the beanie and find the magic ring that you started the round with. It's right here for me. And you need to come out of 2 different sections for the lengths of yarn. So I'm going to come up right beside the magic ring on one side, right here. And I'm going to pull through one of my ends. Pull the yarn in so it doesn't get lost. Okay, and now I'm going to go to, so my yarn's coming out of here. This is the magic ring. I'm going to go on the other side. And I'm going to pull through the second end. This creates a loop. I'm going to match end to end. And form a knot. Just like that. Tighten. And pull through. And now you can trim this if you want. You can weave it in. No one's going to see it, so I'm just going to leave it. But you have a string with which to hang your ornament. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you want the pattern for this mini beanie, or if you want the pattern for the little mini stocking or the mittens, that's available in my pattern shop, and the link is down in the description of this video.